ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। स भगवान् सृष्ट्वा इदं जगत् तस्य च स्थितिं चिकीर्षुः मरीच्यादीन् अग्रे सृष्ट्वा प्रजापतीन् प्रवृत्तिलक्षणं धर्मं ग्राहयामास वेदोक्तं ततः अन्याञ्च सनकसनन्दनादीन् उत्पाद्य निवृत्तिलक्षणं धर्मं ज्ञानवैराग्यलक्षणं ग्राहयामास। द्विविधो हि वेदोक्तो धर्मः प्रवृत्तिलक्षण निवृत्तिलक्षण च जगतस्थितिकारणं प्राणिनां साक्षात् अभ्युदय निःश्रेयस हेतुः यस्य धर्मः ब्राह्मणाद्यैः वर्णिभिः आश्रमिभिः च श्रेयोर्थिभिः अनुष्ठीयमानः. So here I'm going to just explain the gist of what I'm reading, and later if there is opportunity we can go into the word by word or the vakyartha, sentence by sentence meaning also. So, Sa Bhagavan Srishtva Idam Jagata. So, Bhagavan having created this world, this Jagat, what we call as Jagat, whatever is visible is Jagat to us. So, having created this world to protect and maintain and sustain, to tat sthitim chikirshu. So, with a desire to sustain this, to keep it going, he gave 10 rishis, Marichadin. Here he says Marichadin, but actually there are 10. That is Marichi, Angiras, Atri, Pulastaya, Pulaha, Kratuhu, Vasishtha, Prachetas, and Bhrigu and Daksha. The 10 rishis. So these 10 rishis, whom he also called as Prajapatin, these are the Prajapatis. He gave them a certain type of knowledge. It's like a manual, when you buy any washing machine or a refrigerator, Amazon sends you a manual, a tiny little manual along with the thing. Even if you buy maybe a speaker, a speaker like this, a small speaker, doesn't cost much, but it comes with a tiny little pamphlet, a little leaflet, that's the manual. The owner, the manufacturer, makes sure that you know how to operate this speaker. So like this, Bhagavan's creation is vast. This Jagat, how much of knowledge is involved in every little part of this creation. So if one has to live in this creation and go by in your activities, and this is the creation from where you are getting everything. You are getting all your life support from this creation, isn't it? So, you think Bhagavan will not have a manual? He's forgotten to send you the manual. Now think about it. The Bhagavadgita becomes a manual, okay, which is why it is most studied all across the world. And you will see the connections when you go further in the study of the Bhagavad Gita. It is really the manual. Because the Bhagavad Gita is not given to us by some philosopher, a friend philosopher and guide. It is from Bhagavan Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna had to take birth, and although there are many stories about him from childhood, what is life-changing and life-transforming is the teaching he gave to Arjuna at the center of a battlefield, and that is what we are going to study. So here, and one more thing has to be noted, that this Bhagavad Gita is not something which Bhagavan Shri Krishna had just written or something. It's not a booklet he uploaded on Amazon for people to download and read. It was a live teaching he gave Arjuna, and this teaching comes from the Veda. Whatever is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita is not a new knowledge. It is coming from the Veda, and every Veda, Sanatanis understand that it is given at the time of a creation. The creation itself throws out these Vedas. So these manuals have to come. The point I'm making is these manuals have to come along with the creation. So buying this speaker, and then after 2 days the manufacturer sends me, "Arey bhul gaya, I've forgotten. I'm going to send you a manual or a leaflet." Correct? It comes with it. The manual comes with the speaker. Similarly, the manual, that is the life's manual, the Veda, comes along with the creation itself. Okay? And the Veda is given here in two forms. One was given, handed over to Marichadin, and the second, let us see whom he hands it over to. Tataha anyancha sanaka sanandanadin utpadya nivritti lakshanam dharmam jnana vairagya lakshanam grahayamasa. The other type of wisdom was given to another set of rishis, but these are not 10 like Marichadin, these are 4. That is Sanaka Sanandanadin, that is Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatkumara and Sanatana, 4 rishis. He gave them a different type of knowledge. We will see why these two different bifurcations, etc., etc. It will become clear to you. In terms of knowledge, there is only one. There is only one knowledge, but it will appear as though these are two different types or categories and handed over to different sets of rishis. Okay? So, the second set, Sanaka Sanandanadin, were given nivritti lakshanam dharmam. The first ones were given pravritti lakshanam dharma. So dharma was handed over in the form of this understanding, this knowledge, which was given to 10 rishis and 4 rishis, 2 sets. The second set of rishis who got nivritti lakshanam dharmam, he also says, he mentions here in the Bhagavadgita, Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam Grahaya Masa. He gave them an understanding of Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam. So, Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam requires a commentary. I know you might wonder what it is. So, we will hold on because let Bhagavan only explain everything. Okay. So, he gives these two knowledges, these two sets, 2 types of knowledge. One is pravritti lakshana dharma and the second is nivritti lakshana dharma. First set he gives to Marichadi. We saw the names of the 10 rishis. And the second set he gives to Sanaka Sanandanadin. We also saw the names of these rishis. Dvivido hi vedokto dharmaha pravritti lakshana nivritti lakshana cha. Dvivido hi vedokto dharmaha. So the Veda also spoke about 2 dharmas. What were the 2 dharmas? Pravritti lakshana and nivritti lakshana. 2 types of dharma exist. Different types of dharma. And same in the Bhagavad Gita, 2 types of dharma are going to be mentioned. We will see that now. Jagataha sthitikaranam praninam sakshat abhyudaya nishreyasa. Abhyudaya nishreyasa. Hetuhu yassa dharmaha brahmanadhyaihi varnibhihi ashramibihi cha shreyorthibihi anushthiyamanaha. So what are these 2 types of dharmas? The direct reason or a cause for maintaining the balance and harmony in Jagat. I told you it's a manual. So Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa, these 2 things. Abhyudaya is what? Whatever is good for your sansaric progress, the progress in samsara, whatever is going to sustain you, what is good for your security, what is good for your mental balance, what is good for your progress in life, which is going to take you to a higher reality, that is known as Abhyudaya. Okay, it's nothing is bad or something should be neglected. This is Abhyudaya. You have to see it objectively. And the second is, there's another type of knowledge which is Nishreyas, which will take you to Nishreyas, which becomes that knowledge will become the cause itself for your Nishreyas. Okay. So, which is moksha. So, that which is going to give you moksha or the ultimate freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from suffering. Okay? If you look at samsara as suffering, samsarati iti samsara, you could even use that definition, constantly changing. You want something that is static, something that is thiram. There comes a time in life when you want something to hold on to, and you want something that is firm. You don't want something to keep changing constantly. It kind of unsettles you. So you look for it. Now this looking for it, this pariksha that you are going to do can happen either at age of 20 or 15, or it can happen at the age of 70, or it need not happen at the age of 70 also. So you will be in the ICU, holding on to pipes and tubes and still wondering what is this life all about. That could also happen. So there is no assurance that you will get the understanding about life, about this jagat, just by living and procreating and then carrying on with your life, earning money and just the general things that people do, that we visibly see them do. Okay, behind there is a software that is unfolding. Now if you don't know the code for that software, you won't know how to program it. Okay, you'll be caught in your thoughts, and then you'll run to yoga centers, yoga institutes, and trying to calm the mind. So those things also happen in the process, in this journey we call life. If this Bhagavad-Gita were to be learnt by everybody, because you don't run with the Bhagavad-Gita with traffic signals and in malls holding the Gita saying you take this Gita. No, that's a wrong approach. Student has to come to the Bhagavad-Gita. Student has to feel there is a need to study the Bhagavad-Gita. So here Bhagavan is saying there are two types of knowledge. Okay. Pravritti dharma, nivritti dharma. See, in physics, you have a classical model of physics. It is the Newtonian model as it is called. Okay. But there are some deeper truths. There are many things which were later understood. Okay, you had Heisenberg coming and first unsettling everybody. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. He brought that. He changed everything. People further went on. There was deeper thinking, how they are bringing in consciousness into physics. Okay, further studies. They have hit the ceiling. So there are two types of knowledge in physics. When you understand the laws of the universe, Newton's model works on larger bodies, on larger magnitudes. So it will work in when you look at the planets with the stars, the galaxies and all, it seems to be working. But when we look at a minute level, microscopic level, at the level of the atom and neutron, there seemed to be a new reality unfolding here in the laboratories. And then they came to photons. Okay, from photons, then we start talking about quarks. Then of course from quarks, leptons and neutrinos and what not. But it is very clear that the physicists still today do not see eye to eye. The classical model is not going to really adhere to the laws which are being discovered scientifically in laboratories in the quantum mechanical model. Quantum mechanics seems to be functioning in a different way, and you are seeing something different. Obviously, physics is not going to talk about God or Bhagavan or Ishvara or Brahman. What is the telescope or the microscope that I use? Because I have exhausted both. Okay, I even have got the Hadron Collider. That also has not functioned. When I look at the quantum level, at the small tiny level of how am I going to see energy and how am I going to see what it is made up of? How am I going to see beyond? It is going to show me. We saw in the first class the baryonic matter, which is why I said physics is dealing with baryonic matter. In baryonic matter also, they have divided it into two, imagine. And they still cannot really give convincing answers at the quantum level. So here we have a scope. As I said, a telescope, a microscope, you have a Hadron Collider. Here I have a scope which allows me to look into reality. That's the way, that has to be my attitude. So this becomes the pramana. We will see more details about the pramana. This becomes the pramana. This becomes a means to know. Bhagavad Gita is a means to know. When I look down into the pages, I am not looking at a book. I am looking at the word of Ishvara. Ishvara, Bhagavan, the creator, the one who has made all the laws, the one who has right now is giving me the energy, he's giving me the confidence, he's giving me my esteem, he's giving me everything, he's giving me my prana. So whether you talk in psychological terms or whether you look at the energy level or you look at the body, if my hand has to move, if I have to sit here, every cell in my body is being powered, okay, by prana, but that prana is being powered by Ishvara, by his laws. He set up a system and I am a product right here in his system. And I'm able to look into this book. When I'm looking at this book, it is not the book, it is the words that I'm looking at. And when I look at the words, I'm not looking at the words, I am in touch with the meaning of the words. The meanings of the words come from a guru, a teacher who has given me this understanding, who has given me the words. I'm left with the words here, but the understanding is in me, which my guru has given. You look at it as though you're looking through a microscope or a telescope or both. Imagine you have a Hadron's collider and somebody is just giving it to you free of cost. Okay, and you are looking into reality because we are trying to understand reality. Okay, which science until today is still grappling with. What is beyond? We saw the 14 lokas. So you have to understand about all this, and still beyond, you have to understand the Karana, that is Brahman. Okay, this is our journey. This is how our journey is going to be, and for that we are using this instrument, the Pramana. We are using the Pramana, the means to know that which cannot be grasped by any science. All these Pramanas he uses, and still he's confounded and confused. He is not getting clear answers. So what does science do? It uses certain laws already discovered, and it uses certain models. So there is hypothesis involved there. The hypothesis has to be then, first there's observation, then there's hypothesis, then there's reasoning, there's testing, there's verification, there's a process. In Vedanta is not science, but it is scientific. It is scientific because it uses all these methods. It uses the similar approach. We observe and we don't go by beliefs. We test it. But the journey is outward or inward. So in science, the journey is outwards. They use instruments and you do the analysis of the data. In Vedanta, we use the inward journey. There they observe the nature. They observe phenomena outside. Here we observe the mind, the senses, and it's a study of consciousness. Where the mind can operate, where the senses can operate, we operate them. It doesn't mean we don't use logic, we use nyaya. Okay? And the difference is, we know, we come to a certain area where we can see that all the senses and the mind simply fail. That's when we use Shastra. So you have to know, this the teacher tells you, this the guru tells you, where you have to use the Indriya and the Manas, and where you have to use, where the Indriya and Manas are totally useless, futile. There we use Shastra. That is the, so Shraddha is a topic we will come to, but you need to first begin with trust. Trust towards the teacher, trust towards the knowledge. So there is a lot of introspection that is involved. That you understand that Vedanta is a study. It's a dedicated study. Okay, if you can do it with your daily lifestyle, etc., well and good. If you cannot do it with your daily lifestyle, also well and good. But what is important is the study of the Shastra, because to come to an understanding that the Shastra alone becomes your eyes, it takes a long time, because their individuality keeps surfacing. The individuality wants to survive. As long as your individuality survives, you will never be able to see the grand picture, the big vision. So here there are two types of knowledges. It appears as two types of knowledges because your individuality is present still. So the individuality looks for those things, it picks up those things from the Bhagavad-gita which will nourish it, which will help it progress. So that is pravritti, lakshana, dharma. When you see that all the objectives or the deliverables that the pravritti, lakshana, dharma can bring to me do not satisfy me fully, when I'm still discontented, when I'm still searching, when I want to still know, my curiosity has not been allayed, my intellect is still hungering for something, emotionally I am totally devastated despite having all my achievements, all my gains in life. Despite all this, I am not able to feel content, I am not able to feel trupta. That is the perfect adhikari, that is the perfect target audience for the Bhagavad Gita, for this study. Only when you know all your other means, all your other instruments have failed, only then will you come to a study like this, or you will look for a video like this. Isn't it? It's the knowledge of knowledges. And why did I ignore it all these years? It's only when he comes to that point, does he see that it is the same individual walking this journey, and he says, oh my goodness, all that I was looking for was pravritti, lakshana, dharmas. I was thinking of reaching infinity through pravritti, lakshana, dharma, but there seems to be something more. There seems to be something called as nishreyas, and that also is being given by Bhagavan, that is nivritti, lakshana, dharma. So this is a moment of discovery. Then nivritti, lakshana, dharma. One gives abhyudaya, the other gives nishreyasa. So whether you are doing pravritti lakshana or you are chasing nivritti lakshana, this is jagat. This is what it has to offer to you. Through one you are going to find the ultimate answers to the ultimate reality. Okay, that is nishreyasa. And this is dharma. This is not adharma. When you are wanting to know about the nature of reality, it is dharma. Similarly, when you are after the abhyudayas, etc., also is dharma. Okay, going after artha and kama is also dharma, because the individual needs to be secure. In the initial phase of life, you look for security. Okay, you definitely look for security. Why initial phase? Till the end you look for security alone. There are many who chase security alone. And this security is what is called as abhyudaya. The security of artha and kama, the emotional security, family, relationships, all this is needed and necessary. Okay, because it brings abhyudaya in your life. It will bring you progress. Everything has to be respected, everything has a place, because this is Ishvara. This is Ishvara's laws. This is Ishvara's creation. And here now, there is another word, nishreyasa. So that nishreyasa is the param moksha. So here only param purushartha. That param purushartha is the moksha. Final freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from suffering. Freedom from the suffering that you are an individual, limited, finite. That is the suffering. It brings suffering. Why does it bring suffering? We will see that. We will see that separately at length. Okay? And Bhagavan will only show you. When the verse comes, we will unfold that. So, this freedom from suffering and the freedom from being a limited, finite, restricted individual, which is constricting you, which is pressing you from all sides. You want to break free from that feeling, that notion. It's notional, but it keeps recurring, it keeps coming back. And at the same time, our jagat is such that it will keep you away from the study of this knowledge or trying to understand the nature of reality. So here he says, yes, sad dharma, that is dharma. which is being lived by whom? Brahman. The Brahmanadhyaihi Varnibhihi Ashramibhihi cha Shreyortibhihi Anushthiyamana, which is being lived and practiced by the Varnashrama Dharma. Varnashrama is not caste, it is not creed, the way a lot of people translate it and continue to translate. It's a total misinterpretation or a misrepresentation of the Varnashrama Dharma, because it is Dharma. If you don't practice the Varnashrama, if you don't first you understand the Varnashrama Dharma. See, all this is baggage which we carry. It prevents us from seeing the Bhagavadgita as an instrument or a pramana to show you reality. If right in the beginning, in the first page, in the first passage itself, if you form this idea that the Brahmanadhyaihi Varnibhihi Ashramibhihi means some kinds of ashrams, somewhere in Rishikesh or some Haridwar, it needs to be practiced in some pockets, you missed the point. It can be practiced in Mumbai, in this city. You can be living in the Brahman, in the 4 ashramas. You can be in one of the ashramas. You need to understand what it is. The pursuit of life, once it becomes clear, all the chaos and conflicts disappear. Why? The Jiva and Brahma. We are talking of the Pindanda and we are talking of the Brahmanda. Okay, both are important. Why both are important? Because there are no two, there is just one. Neglecting any one will be neglecting the one. And Advaita is not about neglecting either of the two. The Veda is teaching you Brahmajnana. The Veda is giving, it's a darshana. It is going to show you, I told you, this is a scope, this is a pramana, this is an instrument to look into reality. So the Veda gives you this pramana to look into reality. Philosophy, a lot of people call this philosophy. It is not philosophy. Don't make this mistake of calling a darshana, translating it as philosophy. A darshana is your direct eyes. It is giving you eyes and you're seeing it live. It is very difficult to get this in other countries. It is not easy. But if you don't understand the grand vision of Bhagavan, then you will come out with an ism. So there is also nowadays Vedantism. So there was Vedantism, there is Vedantism. And this has got nothing to do with popularity, this has got nothing to do with crowds, this is to do with reality, it is to do with your reality, your and my reality. And we are using the pramana, simple as that. We are looking at the words of Bhagavan. Now, having given these two knowledges, Bhagavan, he finds Dirghena kalena anushtatrinam kamodbhavat hiyamana viveka vijnana hetukena adharmena abhimuyamane dharme pravardhamane cha adharme. So, abhibhuyamane dharme. Dharma, he finds after a long time, dirghena kalena, these knowledges are being practiced. They are being lived. Based on this manual, people are actually living and a whole civilization has been created. The cultures have been, inculturation has happened and these beings are living harmoniously, dharma. But after a long time, see, there's a law of entropy that kicks in. There is Jagat, Sthiti and Laya. Laya also has to happen. So every time there is a change in harmony, Bhagavan himself can do a sthiti. He can bring about a balance. Okay? So, but after any system, if it is, however beautiful it is, if it is allowed to stay for a long time untouched and things are happening, suddenly after some time there is going to be chaos in that system. There is going to be disorder. That's law of entropy sets in. That is the law of entropy in physics. Here what is it? So what happens when dharma keeps going down, it gets buried. What gets vriddhi? What increases? Pravardhamane cha adharme. Correct. Pravardhamane cha adharme. Jagatah sthitim paripalayishuhu sa adikarta narayanakhyo vishnu bhaumasya brahmanatvasya rakshanartham devakyam vasudeva tamshena Krishna kila sambhavuva. Now there is Janmashtami, Krishna Janmashtami. We recently celebrated a month ago. Again we are going to celebrate it here. Why? Because now Bhagavan Krishna, now this is called Avatarvada, this is Avatara. He takes form. Ishvara himself takes form now in the form of Bhagavan Krishna. And who is this Bhagavan Krishna? He is the same Lord Narayana. Lord Narayana. So Narayanakyo Vishnuhu Bhaumasa, where does he take birth? He takes birth in Bhuloka. Brahmana Brahmanatvasya Rakshanartham. To protect the Brahmanatva in the Brahmana. Okay? Here again Brahmana. Every time I am using this word Brahmana, please do not bring your understanding of the caste system. Wait. Bhagavan himself will explain who is the Brahmana. The Viveka Vijnana got imbalanced. So you have to do a little bit of tweaking. Now this tweaking cannot be done by the individual because the individual is already adharmic. So the tweaking has to be done by Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan takes form of Krishna and he comes to deliver the Bhagavadgita. Oh, this is a very sacred moment for us because it's very auspicious. We are getting an opportunity to even keep it open and study and read it. Not only read, we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, going at our own pace. And where does Bhagavan Krishna take birth? He takes birth in Devaki through Vasudeva. So Devakyam Vasudevat Anshena. Part of Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna is born. Kila Sambhavuva. So Sambhavuva, he is born. And this is a well-known story, well done, well narrated. It is a narrative which is well known. The story. We won't go much into the story aspect. We are not interested in too many narratives. We are interested in reality. It happens to be so that here it is Bhagavan Krishna, whom we give the status of a Bhagavan, who is going to talk also about reality. Krishna is not telling Arjuna that, hey, look, I have got a feather in my crown or in my mukuta as a feather, so beautiful, so lovely, so shining. He doesn't tell him about his stories that he used to rob makhan, used to rob butter. He doesn't tell about the stories where he was tied by his mother. He doesn't tell of the stories where he opens his mouth and the universe is seen, etc. He directly shows reality. He directly shows reality to Arjuna later. He shows his glory, his vibhutis. He shows. He is not telling stories here. And before he shows his vibhutis, right from chapter 7, he has started very rationally, very logically. You will see Bhagavan's glories if you do the Tvampada Vichara properly. So first 6 chapters we will do the Tvampada Vichara. The next 6 chapters we will do the Tatpada Vichara. And the last 6 chapters we will do the Asipadartha. We will bring these two together and you will see who is Bhagavan. You will see that. You will see. You will definitely see, and Ishvara will help you see that who is Bhagavan. So Kila, Krishna, Devakyam. Right now Devaki Vasudeva's Amsha. You look at him as an Amsha. Okay? But why is he doing that? Also you should know. Jagatah Sthitim Paripalayishu. He just has one objective. Paripalayishu. Jagatah Sthitim. He is seeing his dear creation go imbalanced, complete chaos. There is adharma everywhere. So he is now going to Paripalanam is going to do. This is where comes surrender. You relax, no? You relax in the arms and the lap of Bhagavan. Let Bhagavan hold you. Bhagavan will take care of his creation. Who are you and me to take care of this creation? You know, we come up with all our plans. We have all our ashrams, etc. We set up. We want this knowledge to change the world. It just doesn't happen like that. Everything happens at the right time. Things emerge. And this emerging also happens because of Bhagavan. Let Bhagavan only do everything. But the commitment and dedication is to the understanding. And you have to be honest in your understanding. If you don't see lights, you don't see lights. If you see a light, you see light. Okay? So, Brahmanatvasya hi rakshanena rakshitah syad vaidiko dharma. Why is Bhagavan protecting the Brahmana? Because it is the Brahmana or the right thinking individual in society. If you protect his thinking, harmony continues in any given society. Need not be only in Bharat. It can be outside Bharat also. So you have to get people to think correctly. So Brahmanatvasya hi rakshanena rakshitah syad vaidiko dharma. Why? Because by protecting, by ensuring that these laws of dharma are upheld, you are actually bringing harmony into Jagat. Because Bhagavan himself has decided that this is the framework. See, you take, today you are using apps. So, what are these apps that you use? You actually do your banking, you do your shopping, you do your communication, everything. You do it. You do in quotes. But all this runs on a certain code. This is what we call as an app. There is a code that runs behind it. Just by tweaking the code, I can enhance the features in the app, or I can break the app as well. So there can be adharma, there can be dharma. You have to just tweak the code. And this code of the Bhagavad Gita, we will understand later, it is just, it's code. The words of the Bhagavad Gita is code, pure code. And this code runs, where does it run? The Creator has already programmed you and sent you with that code. The problem is there have been tweaks. The app, the code of the app has been changed. One curly bracket or one dot or one comma is missing, the entire app can fail. So you have lived a life for all these years. Not only that, the Bhagavad Gita, we will talk about janmas. The Veda talks about janmas. You have lived in previous incarnations. Codes have been tweaked constantly. If there is chaos and dysfunctionality that you perceive, it is because your code has gone wrong. So all my journey has to be is correct my code. I have to brush this code. I have to go through it statement by statement and clean up the code. It's called code cleaning. You clean codes. In software also you do that. Here also you need to do the cleaning. And the cleaning is done by a study like this. And that is known as Brahmanatvam. That is the Brahmanatvam. It's got nothing to do with ashramas and a certain type of a lifestyle. Yes, we will talk about the practices, etc. I told you when we come to that portion, we will talk of the sadhanas or the practices involved to have the right and better understanding of this knowledge. Okay, we'll take a pause here and then we'll proceed in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om.